guys, how you doing? It's Rabea. Hope you're all good. So I've got a brand new pedal demo to show you today, this time in association with the dudes at Walrus Audio. They've brought out this really cool reverb pedal. It's a multi-textural reverb pedal with some really cool options, and it's called the SLÖ Reverb. Now, I don't know if I'm saying that right because there is an umlaut above the O, but for the sake of safety in pronunciation, I'm going to call it the SLÖ Reverb. Okay, so we've got three reverb types. We've got dark, which is an octave below reverb, and then we've got rise, which is like a volume ramp reverb, and then we've got dream, which is like a vibrato modulated reverb. There's some extra features, the secondary functions. We'll get into all of that, and really excited to try it out. Okay, so looking at the close-up cam, you can see it's a pretty straightforward pedal in their sort of small footprint. From the top left to the top right, we've got decay, filter, and mix. So decay is how long the reverb's going to dissipate for. Filter is like a low pass, so all the way down is going to be no high end, and all the way up is going to be all the high end in the reverb trail. And then mix is obviously the dry wet blend. And as you can see, there's like a little line in the top right, say maybe 2 o'clock, and that means perfect balance between dry and wet. And then we've got X, which is modulation, and then depth, which is obviously the depth of the reverb, and it changes depending on what you're on. And then you've got the toggle switch in the middle. It's a three-way toggle switch. So on the left-hand side of the toggle switch, you've got your type of reverb, so the dark, the rise, and the dream. On the right, you can see it says sine, warp, and sync, which is the type of wave selection for the modulation. So sine wave, like a warp, and a sync. So it just changes the kind of modulation effect. Your foot switches are obviously bypass, and then you've got sustain, which is a really cool feature, because if you hold down sustain, it gives you like a pad that you can play over the top of. But if you're in the dream setting, it becomes latching, so you can create an infinite pad that you can play over the top of, which is very cool. In terms of the secondary functions of the pedal, you've got trails mode, which basically turns on and off the trail. When you turn the pedal off, you'll hear it dissipate, or you can turn that off if you want. You simply just have to hold down the engage button, add power add power to the pedal, and that will toggle between the two. And then the secondary function, in terms of selecting the different wave shape, you just hold down that bypass switch, and then you move the toggle switch between obviously sine, warp, and sync, and then the depth knob changes the rate of that modulation. So it's a really easy pedal to use, and it's just pretty flexible, so you can do loads of cool stuff with it. So as I said, straightforward. It's all about the tones, and the cool thing with Walrus Audio is they just make great quality sounding pedals, so I'm assuming this is no different. For this demo, I'm going to use my custom shop Fender Tele Esquire, and I'm running into the VX100 on a bit of a crunch, and this pedal is in the loop, so you'll get to hear it blended in. Okay, let's get stuck into it. Got the guitar. This is the sound of it straight in. So it's dynamic. It means if I dig in, I get the gain. If I back off a bit, I can clean it up. So it sounds good. So I've got the pedal set up with, basically, we're going to start with the dark reverb, and I want to just demonstrate the secondary function real fast and just general navigation before we get stuck into just playing, so you get the idea. So again, guitar without, and let's put it in. So there you go. Let's take all the modulation out. So that's just the sound of the dark reverb. Now, the X control is going to turn up that -1 octave, so this is without any. And I'm going to start bringing it in. Sounds really, really nice, like a choral almost. And again, the filter real fast, so let's just take the reverb back out. So It's really nice because you've got tons of control over how much high-end content you want in that reverb signal. So it can be really dark and moody, or it can be nice and bright to follow your notes really easily. As I said, mix, I'm going to keep it up here because it's kind of equal parts dry and wet. Next, what I want to do is demonstrate the secondary functions and how we can navigate the different types of sine wave modulation. So what I need to do is just show you how it sounds first. So I'm going to turn it up. So that's quite intense. That's the sine wave. And what basically happens is when you hold down bypass, you can then hold down bypass and then flick the toggle switch to move between the different types and simply turn up the depth, and it changes the rate. So all the way to the left is really slow and all the way to the right is really fast. So let's first of all move through the different types. So we'll start with sine wave. So So there you go. That was a rather linear way of showing you, but it's important to know how to navigate that if you do get this pedal. That's basically how you jump between all the different types of sine wave and change the rate and that kind of stuff. Simply hold down bypass, use the toggle switch, then use the depth to control the rate. There you go. So first of all, we're hearing the dark reverb. The thing I like about this is that you can get really moody and dark with it. So what I'm going to do is turn up the mix. Let's turn the filter up and the decay. Let's put that modulation in a bit. Now I'm going to hold the sustain button and you should be able to hear how I can turn this into a pad. So super dark and eerie kind of reverb going on there. So next, let's move over to Rise. So with Rise, the cool thing with this is it's like a pad swell kind of thing. So it's really handy. The X knob now controls the speed of the ramp instead of in dark, it would have controlled that lower octave. So basically every time you switch around, it's going to change those special features of that type of reverb. So yeah, basically in Rise mode, we're going to change the swell time. So let me just turn the mix of the reverb all the way up so you can just hear the reverb itself. So that would be the Rise reverb, personally my favourite in this pedal, just because I love the ambience that you can get from it. The way it sounds is inspiring, and you can come up with cool pads and all that kind of stuff. Lastly is the Dream reverb, and this is really handy because the X knob can control the vibrato, and then on top of that you've got that sine wave reverb as well. So I'm just going to mess around. I'm going to go over to the sync sine wave, and then also I'm going to take out the vibrato for now, just so you can hear how it sounds. Let's blend in quite a bit of decay and mix. So here you go. So those are the three reverb types. I got definitely carried away on the Dream one because it's just so lovely. So what I wanted to do now is just play some more so you can just hear how good this thing sounds. So yeah, here we go. So there we go, guys. There is a look at the brand new Walrus SLÖ Reverb. I'm really bad with that kind of thing, but it's a fantastic reverb. Immediately puts me in a place. It's inspiring. I can write stuff with that. Loads of cool inspiring sounds, and it's simple and easy to use, navigate the secondary functions, all that kind of thing. Of course, it always, with Walrus pedals, they look fantastic as well, which is a small benefit, but it's an awesome one at that. They make sure all their pedals are presented fantastically, so really impressed. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll put links in the description box below. However, because I'm shooting this demo before release date, I can't give you an exact price on what it's going to cost. But I would imagine it's in ballpark with the other stuff like the Fathom, the ARP87, that kind of thing. As always, Walrus Audio provide a great quality pedal. You know, I've never been disappointed with a Walrus Audio pedal before, and I'm always enjoying reviewing them, and I'm always very happy and honoured to be asked to do it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. As I said, links in the description box. Like, subscribe and share, and I will see you all very soon.